This is Naked Conversations with Amanda Dawn. I'm Amanda Dawn. And again, I'm not naked today because I'm visiting a friend in the cities and I don't want to be arrested. So, maybe one day we'll be able to walk around naked in Eden like we originally did as the primates or whatever we evolved from. In the future, when we don't rely on fossil fuels and we tap into the free energy that is all around us. So my cry today, I have been integrating so many experiences. I'm going to put a video link in the box below to my friend in Mir, Jen, from Jen Gems. She talks about our MEs, which is our multiple experiences, the Mandela Effect, and how we're all one, and how we can see that, how we can heal with energy. And she just talks about her experiences kind of like I talk about mine. And she's a mirror, and something that happened to her yesterday, Jen, if you're watching this, I really thank you for sharing this experience. But I've been integrating a lot of my past abuse from childhood, and how I had these parts of myself that I kind of exiled away just so I wouldn't remember those horrible things that happened to that little child that I was. But living my life without that little girl has caused so much pain. So when she was talking about that, it reminded me of an experience I had yesterday. And Father's Day is always fucking hard for me. Because of my father's actions and not being able to say that, or feeling bad. I mean, even this Father's Day, feeling obligated, and my father's still alive. So Jen, that's something different, where I'm having this experience while they're still alive, and I could talk to them physically about all these things, but when I do, I get a lot of resistance. And something that just taught me about the video you shared is that once those people pass, they're still around. And I know my father's parents passed recently, these recent years, and they are with me, and they tell me things that, I don't necessarily want to hear, but they remind me of the past experiences that my little Amanda self had, and I have to integrate them in order to be a whole person and stand in my true self without having a panic attack because the energies are so strong around me. So when I did some cord cutting yesterday, which is the healing practice that my friend here does, she helps cut cords and break up energy that you may not be aware of, and she's very in your face type of mirror. So I had an experience where I looked in the mirror and I saw my father in me, and this is I've had this experience before, but I've always just been fuck you, you're not a part of me. And yesterday I acknowledged him. I'm not ready to integrate him at this point because the little girl's still processing. The little girl's still processing, that's her coming up right now, and it needs to be understood what happened to her. And she needs to be seen because the parents that were around couldn't see her. And because of that, I took on their shame, and they talk about family enmeshment and I gotta take some deep breaths. They talk about family enmeshment in psychology, and that's what happens, like, as an empath or whatever. I am an awakening soul, because I think we're all empaths at the core of it. We're just, some of us are just already are finely tuned to it, and others have dimmed their telepathy and all that, so they can stay in their own worlds and in their own egos, and their constructs of what they think the world is and what it should be, so that they don't have to face those parts of themselves that they haven't integrated. So yeah, coming face to face with my father and realizing that I have been abusive too, and that I am capable of those things that he has actually done in the physical. I'm able to acknowledge him, just knowing that I too am capable of those things if I shut off access to my emotional knowing and my emotional intelligence. And you know what really abuse is like feeling like you have to steal someone else's power in order to be who you are. And as a little child, you don't even know that they're stealing your power. These are the people that are supposed to be taking care of you, and that's where, like, that whole innocent, like, child thing, and how and why child abuse still goes on is because we cut ourselves off from our emotional knowing that as I abuse another, I am abusing myself. And whether or not, like, that comes from another abusive situation in the family or outside of the home, at work, if someone feels like their power, is being taken from them, they will quite often reciprocate by trying to take someone else's power who is lower than them. And that all originates in our mind, which is what's tripping me out, is like, that's what the Mandela Effect is. It's the fact that we are all one, but we're all having these separate experiences of being one. And that's what's so important, and being one. That's what's so important for us to know and process, is that we are all experiencing the same thing, because we're experiencing it, and we can, these avatars, they're just our bodies, and we think we are our body, and that's where we get tripped up. Is because the body actually wears out eventually because of what it's like here in this time-space continuum. But that's not who we are. Like, we are souls. We are... I don't know, it's just funny how we end up being what we think we aren't gonna be, but what we were programmed to be. And as a child, you just don't understand that. Like, you come out and you're just innocent and pure, and it doesn't take much for the world that we live in to snuff that out and to take that and distort it. And I think that's what's this mother energy that we're calling in. The astrology talks about it. This world has all the clues that we need to live and breathe and understand reality, but we ignore it. Which scientifically, if we really look at it, it's because our left brain is more dominant than our right brain. It really doesn't have to do with male or female. That's just our avatar we decided to be in. And those constructs that we take on aren't truly us. They're just a part of this body, and that's why even if you're in a feminine body, you're drawn to feminine things, but it ends up being kind of distorted, the whole, if we look at models like Victoria's Secret and all that, that's a big program into our minds of what it means to be female in these avatar bodies. But if you go within and you can sense that you are both feminine and masculine, and that there is no one or the other, we are all in the same, and we need each other to procreate, and relationships actually look different from that standpoint, because no one needs to own the other or dominate the other. That's what that whole feminine energy is, and having our left brains be in control of ourselves, we end up dominating the right brain. And that's why when you meditate or you write or you sing or you channel or whatever it is that you do to get in your right brain, that's when time doesn't exist. That's when everything else falls away and you truly become in the now moment. And that's why our left brain has made the world the way it is, because it feels like it has to dominate the earth instead of be in harmony with the earth. So yeah, and I'll actually put a book under here, the Amazon link to it, because it talks about going back to the brain of Eden and realizing how much our left brain is in control and why that happened. And it's related to evolution, all the scientific stuff. So there's all the evidence in the future, and they draw up very interesting theories and hypotheses and all that. And I love that kind of scientific-y stuff. But yeah, and it's funny just watching all the technology that the left brain has come up with. Our right brain will be able to find solutions to create something that has structure from the left brain, with the right brain's creativity and ingenuity and song and dance that will be able to harness energy just from the free energy of the earth. And we won't have to go through all these intricate crazy processes to just get from point A to point B, which is usually work, home, grocery store, work, home, grocery store, maybe a friend's place, maybe a bar. That's our little cycles. So I see the world in systems, and when I see the world in systems like that, it makes sense to me. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but we're little pockets of energy, each and every one of us, whether it's just our bodies, the family unit, the work unit, the whole a nation unit. All of us are in little systems, and we all supply the energy for that system. So really there is no hierarchy, because all of our energy is the same. And the whole hierarchy thing is causing a rift in humanity and actually causing us to de-evolve into a state of male suppression, which just isn't right and isn't part of who we are. Well, I mean, it is part of who we are, but the whole essence of us doesn't need the male to dominate. We need the masculine energy to bring structure and bring protection and bring strength in tandem with the flowing energy of the feminine, which brings creativity and mind fluidness, if that makes sense, instead of being in such like a rigid mindset, or this is it and that's it and that's the only way it can be, and that just isn't beneficial to any of us. So I think I'll end here, but yeah, I'll leave that book in Jen's Gems in the bottom post. I can't wait until I'm at the point where I don't need to meditate to be in myself, in my self energy. I still need that tool to get into my right brain and to tap into that, just because of how long I've let my fear, the left brain, the control structure to control me. And that's, that's part of my dad. That's the dad part in me that I'm still integrating and trying to process, and I am processing. It's taking time. So, all right, I love you. Please comment, like, and share if you like these things. I really like comments. If you have similar experiences, I just really like to know about them. So it makes me happy. So